What is going on, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Matt the Misfit. Tonight we're going to go over AEW Dynamite, December 21st, 2022, where Hikaru Shida and Jamie Hayter steal the show in the main event of the evening. We had the fifth match in the Best of 7 series between the Elite and Death Triangle. We had a bizarre, terrible segment with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. We've seen an okay match between John Moxley and Darius. We also seen we seen FTR take a loss to the Gun Club, which is a very, very weird thing to see. We seen Bryan Danielson call it MJF. We've seen all that good stuff, Ricky Starks and everything else. Here we're going to talk about all that and much, much more. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, comment down below, hit that like button, because I want to make sure you're watching the videos by hitting that like button. Follow the social medias on Twitter at Misfit Podcast TV, on Instagram, Misfit Wrestling Pod, and at Facebook, Misfit Wrestling Podcast. And if you want to find us here on the YouTube machine, just go to youtube.com/@ Misfit Wrestling Podcast. It's that simple. All that jazz is going to be in the description down below. And I've probably broken my own rule. I know I said that after Ring of Honor's final battle, I will not be adding any more matches to the Match of the Year list for voting. I've broken my rule by adding Hikaru Shida and Jamie Hayter, because that match was phenomenal. Match of the night, obviously. The second best women's match of the year. No, actually, I take that back. The third best women's match of the year. Right behind that, in front of that is Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch, and my personal favorite is Azumi and Starlight Kid high-speed title, which is still in the running for match of the year on the Misfit Wrestling Podcast year-end awards. And if, and this is a big if Utami Hayashishida versus Kairi and or Julia versus Shiri is phenomenal shit, I may break that rule again. And then after that, I promise you, no other matches. Well, I can't actually add any more matches after that. But, well, yeah. Let's talk about Dynamite here. Dynamite was not a bad show. Dynamite I didn't think was a great show last week, but the main event was okay. Like I said, tonight I thought they did better than what they was. The crowd was hot all night. Kudos in San Antonio. WWE will be in San Antonio for the Royal Rumble. And a month from now, or a month from next week. So, but we kick things off with Ricky Starks. He comes out there, massive pop. Ricky Starks is a superstar. Comes out and admits that it would be nice to be standing here as the AEW World Champion, but that's not how things turned out. He admits that he should have known better, but at least he lost like a man, as where MJF looks one like a coward. He says he can stand here with respect, but MJF doesn't have any of that. He doesn't have a pair of balls either. Ricky Starks that says there will be a next time, and imagine how close he will be then. Which I do think that may be the plan. There's a good chance that they'll hold off the rematch between Ricky Starks and MJF for next year. Winter is coming, and then that's when they take the title off of MJF. Who knows? I'm curious to see where that goes there. But Starks continues and says, "This doesn't mean it's the end of the road. This is just the start. If he has to work his way back up, then that's what he's going to do. Or he's fine with that at least. Line them up so he can knock them down. He will be the man around here because he is the absolute Ricky Stark. This leads to an interruption from the Jericho Appreciation Society, who is with Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara, obviously, because they're in the group. Jericho claims he's been watching Starks for a long time, puts over Starks as a hell of a talent, a future world champion, which I absolutely agree with both those statements. He says he's not ready yet, which I somewhat agree, but he's gonna get there, and when he does, it's gonna be phenomenal stuff. He doesn't want him to be a flash in the pan. Obviously, it's Ricky Starks. I don't think that's gonna happen. And after talking it over with the others, he basically offers Ricky Starks to join the Jericho Appreciation Society. Starks says that he likes that Jericho knows how to stay relevant and constantly evolve, which is true. He does that every time he gets a chance to. He's coming out here. Stark starts saying he's coming out here looking like he was coming out here looking like an air fryer, which was he looked didn't look in shape at all. It looked very disgusting to look at. Jericho, that is the way he was. Now he's in the best shape of his career, and he and he said it looks like a single father on his fifth divorce, which popped me. Ricky Starks then says he admits that he loves. He admits the offer is tempting, but he says hell no. Starks mentions Jericho's recent loss to Action Andretti, which again, that was still a surprise. I'm still can't believe that happened last week, where Jericho put over Action Andretti, a jobber, clean last week. He did sign a contract, by the way. He says the J in JAS stands for jobbers. He labels Garcia and Sammy Guevara as jazz holes, which got the crowd starting chanting. That was funny. He points out Garcia has lost his title, and he couldn't care less about Sammy. My thoughts exactly. I agree with you on that, Mr. Starks. He suggests January 4th that Ricky Starks faces Chris Jericho 1-on-1, but Jericho says that was the wrong answer, leads to Hager, jumping Starks from behind. Action Andretti comes out to make the save, ends up cleaning house to help Ricky Starks stand tall in that segment. Great opening segment. I love Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks is an absolute star. Jericho. Hopefully this doesn't halt the momentum that Ricky Starks has. But if it's Ricky Starks, I think can hold his own on this whole thing. So we'll see what happens here. Next up, we had the fifth match, no disqualification in the best of 7 series with the Elite and Death Triangle. The next match, I believe, is what is the next match in the series? So it's a regular 6-man tag match, which is the next one. And if they go to a 7 series, the last match is going to be a ladder match. This match was fun. It's somewhat Christmas themed. At one point, the Elite takes control of Penta, and who uses a trash can to level things up. They then hold it over. Then they take this trash can, hold it over with lower regions of basically put it between Penta's balls. Does the drop kick in from the top rope to crash into him. Basically the Shane McMahon spot, as we like to call it. Death Triangle, then slow down the pace as they set up tables on the outside, bringing down a Christmas tree as the brawling continues. All 3 members of the Elite then get launched into the Christmas tree, which is funny as shit to see. Into the corner. Nick Jackson fires back with a high crossbody. However, he goes for a thrust kick. Pac avoids it. Nick ends up getting kicked. Ends up kicking a steel chair instead, tweaking his knee a little bit, or his ankle. from the ankle injury from last week, as we've seen Pac. It was either Pac or Penta use the bell hammer to hit Nick Jackson into the ankle with it, and which caused the match to head to the Death Triangle. Pac then crashes into the corner. Heads to the top turnbuckle to put a stamp on the ankle injury that they're trying to head up. But Omega launches a trash can at him instead. Matt Jackson then takes out the Lucha Brothers, while Omega uses the trash can to hit a moonsault onto Pac, which is something he's done in the past too. I think he did the Moxley too at Full Gear a few years ago. Hits a great near fall as Pac was able to kick out of that move. Omega pulls out a barbed wire broom, which I remember him using that during his match with both of his matches with Moxley, the lights out match at Full Gear, and then the Revolution exploding barbed wire death match for the AEW title. And he attacks Rey Fenix with his fellow Death Triangle members getting set up on tables on the outside of the ring, which were set up earlier by the Death Triangle. Young Bucks scale to the top turnbuckle, takes both men out while going through the table. Omega hits a Tiger Driver 98 on Phoenix that lands both on the barbed wire. They both land on the barbed wire, but the mask man Phoenix was able to kick out. They look for the Elite, then hit to look the BTE trigger, but Alex Abrahantes grabs the legs of Omega, which immediately stops the momentum momentarily. However, the Elite fire back as Omega hits Phoenix with a V trigger, but as it looks to hit the one-winged angel, Phoenix almost reverses and almost beats him with a roll up. That doesn't work, so Phoenix blasts Omega in the head with a hammer. But that isn't enough to get the job done. Pac then locks in the brutalizer using the tinsel as he's using the hammer on Nick Jackson as that gets locked into the ankle submission. I think it was very, very Pac's just very good at what he does. Okay. But Matt Jackson comes in, saves both men. All three Death Triangle members have hammers in each hand. Penta and Pac get pulled out of the ring by Omega. Gets pulled out by the Young Bucks. Omega nails Phoenix with the Snapdragon suplex. I love when he hits those moves. That Snapdragon by Omega is great stuff. The chair is then placed in the ring as the Young Bucks plant Phoenix head first with I think it was a Meltzer driver onto the chair for the win. Elite going up one. They remain down. It's still 3-2. Next week it will either go to a tie, which it probably will be, or Death Triangle retain the tag team title, the trios titles. And if they go if the Elite win next week, they'll go to the ladder match on the 11th, the big show on January the 11th, which I'm assuming that's when the House of Black are going to get involved and help, and then start that rivalry with the Elite, which I'm super excited for. After the match, Death Triangle is pissed they lost. They start trying to beat up the Young Bucks, which they do. Nick Jackson gets bust open, and that was just some nasty shit. So, Death Triangle playing more heelish. I like to see that, but that's good stuff there. And then we got a clip from MJF from last week as he's reacting to the Bryan Danielson coming out, ruining his moment, as he calls it. He calls him a worthless scumbag, as everyone in the company wants to ride his wave and eat off his plate, that is. But then when it comes to the Reign of Terror, Danielson will eat less than he desires and more than he deserves. So getting ready for that eventual Bryan Danielson MJF match, which I'm assuming is going to be saved for Revolution. Because I personally would not give that match away on pay-per-view, on live, on free television. Then again, AEW did give away the first CM Punk MJF match on free television. So, and that ended up being Punk's first loss in AEW. So. Action Andretti is interviewed. He says that he did the impossible by defeating Chris Jericho last week. And he says his life hasn't been the same since. He knew that JAS would have built up anger and to dish out, but he had Ricky Starks back. 2.0 then comes in and says that he's on a hot streak. He's on fire. Action Andrade turns around, gets a fireball in the face from Chris Jericho. Jericho starts beating it up, saying it's melting his face and all that stuff, and burns and whatnot. Good stuff. Hopefully this is not. I hope we do more with Action Andrade, because that was like a really good match last week too, and it had no right to be as good as it was. So, Renee Paquette welcomes Bryan Danielson to the ring. We got a mini Talking Smack reunion here on AEW Dynamite. The reunion everyone's been waiting for real now. Ask where William Regal leaves the Blackpool Combat Club. He knows that he doesn't expect the group to forgive Regal, as he's done bad things. However, he trained here in San Antonio, Texas, which gave the crowd to pop. While he was first trained by Shawn Michaels, he mentioned Shawn Michaels, and immediately HBK chants break out, and I'm like, what? On the AEW Dynamite, on AEW television, HBK chants broke out. I never thought I'd see the day. Bryan says HBK turned him into the man he is, and turned him into the wrestler he is today. He says Bryan says the man who turned him into the wrestler he is today is Regal, and he turned him into the person he is. That he is. Regal did, that is. Danielson knows that the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club doesn't have the same relationship, but when Regal was in the hospital, he thought he wouldn't see him again. He cried. Regal made him better, and the entire industry. Danielson loved having Regal in AEW, and one thing Regal taught him is there are consequences to your actions, and that's the one thing MJF needs to learn. Danielson has been listening to everything MJF has been saying, and he tells MJF to get his ass out here. Instead, out comes All Eagle, Ethan Page, and Stokely Hathaway. Stokely Hathaway calls a Danielson a raggedy bitch, which was great. Stokely Hathaway is a fucking gem. I love him so much. Hathaway also points out that he would be the man with the world title if he faced MJF. Talking about Ethan Page being the world champion. He says the vegetable man, he calls, which, because he's vegan. Danielson is a vegan. Says that the vegetable man thinks he can jump ahead of him, and Hathaway tells him to go home and be a family man. Danielson cuts them off and says he didn't hear him. No, he didn't hear them. Ethan Page says he called him a vegetable man because he will turn into that, which was not a very good line. I love Ethan Page, but that was not a very good comeback. The vegetable man thing beforehand was funny, but the comeback to what Danielson said was not very funny. Danielson tells him to do it right here, to come fight him right now, here and now. Ethan Page declines and opts to face him next week, so then we find out it's going to be Ethan Page versus Bryan Danielson next week on the final Dynamite of 2022. Moxley is shown backstage. Says that he will be at AEW Rampage because he's going to be part of that trio's $300,000 battle royale thing. And he tells Hangman Page that they keep fighting, but will they settle in the ring? He questions how Hangman Page all things played out with the incident. It's not his problem that Hangman Page had a glass jaw. He says he will have to teach Darius Martin a harsh lesson tonight. So then we got a pre-taped segment with Samoa Joe. He wishes everyone a happy holiday season, including Wardlow. He says that's because he won't be having a happy New Year, as he will take everything from him, and he will finish the holiday. And after he finishes the holiday years with and all that stuff, Samoa Joe is great. This reminded me of when Joe was feuding with Jeff Hardy, and I shouldn't be laughing about that, but Joe is just great at what he does. He he was trying to give beer drinking lessons to the youngling, like not to drink and drive, and he was doing it while sipping a glass. It was funny as shit. Not the drink and drive thing, but the Samoa Joe, how Joe was doing it on SmackDown was fucking great stuff. This was what that reminded me of. Book defeated Exodus Prime, which that's a great fucking day for a wrestler, by the way. Hits him with the red rum, out like a light. Took wins. Stokely Hathaway shown backstage with Big Bill and Lee Moriarty attacking Jungle Boy Jack Perry. He gets junk slammed into a dumpster. Obviously teasing and edging on to Hook, who seems annoyed by the whole thing. Next up, we had Darius Martin lose to Jon Moxley. Match was all right. Moxley chooses the trash talk Dante, which Dante Martin, who's on the outside, allows Darius to hit a tope suicida. But as he goes for the top maneuver, Moxley nails him with a forearm strike, which sends Darius to the floor, back into the ring. Moxley turns him inside out by launching him into the air, which Moxley with the height on that fucking stuff. Darius Martin and Dante Martin, the Martin brothers can fucking fly, okay? But Moxley then chomps Darius and connects with a suplex as he remains control with a hammer and the blows that he does, the hammer and anvil blows, elbow strikes that he does. The end of the match, Moxley hits a Death Rider for the win. 1, 2, 3. Moxley wins here. Getting close to that eventual Moxley Hangman rematch, which I'm assuming also is going to be happening at Revolution. Again, I personally would not do the rematch on paper on free TV, but if you want to, you can because Revolution's isn't until another 3 months. So next up, we got the Gun Club defeating FTR. This match was not very good. If I'm being completely honest, it's probably one of their worst matches. Gun Club's not that. I just don't think the Gun Club is very good. Though I will admit, though, the Bret Hart gear that Gun Club was wearing was phenomenal stuff because obviously FTR, massive Bret Hart fans. So I thought it was pretty interesting. So they won by cheating, obviously, but yeah, Gun Club won. Nothing much to say here. I think there's a story telling him of them losing after made big matches after losing the match with the Briscoes. They're going to lose the AAA tag team titles at Triple Mania. I believe that's the show that's coming up, Triple Mania. It's not Triple Mania. It's whatever show that's coming up next week, which means they won't be on the show. The AAA's Night of Champions show. They'll be taking on Otacon Jr. and a lady. Oh no, they're not going to be taking them on. They're going to be taking on Dragon Lee and Jalisco. So they'll be taking on the members of Los Ingobernables for the AAA tag titles, and then they're going to be facing Hiroki Goto and I believe Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. They're going to be taking on those guys for the IWGP tag team titles at Wrestle Kingdom. So I think they're going to keep losing all their titles one after the other. Sanjay Dutt shown a video package doing a weird, terrible rap video that no one wants to talk about. And another thing no one wants to talk about is the shit ass segment with Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. And I love Swerve and I love Keith Lee, but this is not what I want to talk about. Rick Ross is in here. They didn't bleep this out. This was actually my favorite part of this entire fucking segment. Was Rick Ross calling Keith Lee a big motherfucker. Great shit. That was funny. Everything else, not so much. Swerve says he didn't know didn't know we were doing things on Lee's time again. Which I feel like Tony Khan is the one who announced the segment. They're talking all this bullshit. Parker Boudreaux, which no one gives a shit. We came out with a 0 reaction. Starts hitting terrible punches on Keith Lee, looks stupid as shit. Keith Lee takes him out. Although again, Rick Ross is kind of doing commentary on this whole entire segment, which is A+ stuff there. And then a random dude just comes out and attacks Keith Lee on the ramp. Some baseball dude. His name for Fightful Select. Grandin Goatsman? A former baseball player. He played for the Tampa Bay Rays. Major League Baseball player. He played for them, and then he played for St. Louis Cardinals and the Houston Astros. But I don't know much about him. He's apparently just started training. And I don't think he may be ready. I don't fucking know. I didn't really care about the segment. The segment was awful. This segment killed the crowd. And I tweeted like, please, for God's sakes, let the women bring up the crowd again. And they did, because what a match this was. The main event, Hikaru Shida, Jamie Hayter, AEW Women's Championship match. What a fucking match this was. Brutal fucking affair. The crowd was into this. This is awesome chants. They got women's wrestling chants. They got standing ovation. They may have had a fight forever chant, trying to plug the video game, maybe. I don't know. But this match was going back and forth. So, this match, because it was great stuff. He just starts firing back with several strikes of her own after Hayter started hitting her with some stuff. Hayter can throw her into the second. Started throwing Shida into the second turnbuckle to slow down Shida's momentum. Following it up with a suplex over another suplex for a near fall. They go back and forth again, forearms until Shida hits a drop kick, and then that leads to Shida hammering down right hands at the corner, following it up with another missile drop kick. However, Hayter responds it up with a beautiful snap mirror from the turnbuckle onto the apron, which looked nasty as fuck. Shida gets back up on the ring apron. They're starting to fight back and forth. Shida looks like she's gonna hit. Look, at first I thought she was trying to hit a like a power bomb or power driver or something. Shida then goes for a suplex, which from the ring apron to the floor. I thought she was gonna turn that into a Falcon's Arrow. That would have been fucking sick. But it would have been so fucking sick to see that. She follows it up. Shida follows it up with a Meteora, then a Falcon's Arrow. Hayter manages to kick out. This is, again, the crowd's going crazy for this. Shida looks to do a high risk move. Hayter pushes her down to the mat only to miss with a moonsault. Presses Shida follows up with a running knee strike, which gets another near fall. Crowd again chanting, "This is awesome!" They're going crazy. Hayter plays possum, allows her to drop Shida to her knee. Follow that up with a sliding lariat. Again, another kick out, and Shida, boom, again a kick out there. Crowd again going bananas. And I think it was at this point, the crowd stood up for a standing ovation. Hayter nails a backbreaker, goes for a pin again. Not enough to get the win. Shida comes back with a question mark kick, then the axe kick, which is followed by a beautiful German suplex. But Rebel distracts the referee, allows Britt Baker to get in the ring with Shida's candlestick. Shida manages to take care of the situation by ducking out of the way, grabbing the candlestick and beating the ever-living piss out of Britt Baker with it. And Shida manages to take Shida again. Doesn't notice Hayter is getting herself situated there. She goes running to the turnbuckle. Hayter counters that into a powerbomb for a near fall. Again, this is where the standing ovation happens from the crowd. Hayter comes in with a huge lariat. Shida kicks out again. Crowd is losing their mind. Who tried to hit the ripcord, the lariat the first time, but she just went with a regular lariat. Then she hit the Haterade for a second time. I was able to keep Shida down for the pinfall. What a fucking match this was. Incredible stuff. This is my favorite match of the week, probably. I don't know if I'm going to probably enjoy anything on SmackDown, so I'm just going to say right now, this is going to be my match of the week. Imagine that Becky and Bayley had a fun match. A Death Triangle and Elite had a really good match. And then this was phenomenal stuff. After the match, Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker and Rebel start beating up on Shida. Tony Storm comes to the ring, makes the save. Hayter nails her in the back of the head with the title. The three women start attacking Storm. This time, Saraya comes down to the ring. Just waffles Rebel on the outside with a clothesline. And she hits a thrust kick to Britt Baker, sending the heels just off. And then that's how Dynamite closes the show. That's how it goes off the air. Fun episode of Dynamite. Great main event. Probably one of my favorite women's matches of the year. One of my favorite AEW women's matches of the year, obviously. And Jamie Hayter is off to a great start as women's champion. Hayter, what I loved about this was Hayter. Hayter had two back-to-back killer championship matches. One at Full Gear where she won the title from Tony Storm, and then tonight defending the title against Hikaru Shida. Shida wrestled her first main event for AEW, which was great. I love that she just Thunder Rosa. Jamie Hayter's first title defense was in the main event. That was a well-deserved spot. Tony Khan, if you're listening, probably are because you're paying attention to a lot of people's podcasts. Please do more of this type of stuff with the women, but do more of this stuff, but for the rest of the women's division. Just don't do it just for certain people. Do it for everybody, because if you do more things like this, people are gonna care about your women's division more. It's very simple. Next week, though, Dynamite is gonna be coming from from Colorado, the final Dynamite of 2022. We have match 6 rather, in the best of 7 series. This is the match if the lead win here. They tie it up. If they lose, it's over for them. Then we have Samoa Joe versus Wardlow for the TNT Championship. Bryan Danielson and Ethan Page. That's one thing that's happening on that show. I believe also we have Rampage. We have the $300,000 Battle Royale. Trios Battle Royale. We have Jade Cargill versus veteran. We're gonna get Verdexen. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. We got a Wardlow promo. We're gonna hear from Eddie Kingston and Ortiz, Anthony Bowens, and Billy Gunn will take on Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. But yeah, that was Dynamite. Fun show. Phenomenal main event. Great opening match. Great segment from Ricky Starks. I wouldn't recommend watching the segment with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. I would recommend watching the opening match. But if there was one thing to go back to from this show, it would be Shida and not Britt Baker, Shida and Hayter. They killed it. You ladies deserve a standing ovation, and you guys deserve a raise for that performance. Whoever produced that match, good for you too, because that was some good shit. So, but yeah, I will see you back here for SmackDown. Hopefully, depending, I'm debating whether or not if I'm going to do SmackDown or not. I will be doing Raw. I'm trying to figure out. I'm still probably going to do that prediction show, which I'm probably going to film tomorrow or before SmackDown. The 2023 wrestling predictions of what's going to happen. I can predict what's going to happen at the Wrestle Kingdom too, if you want. Yeah. I've been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. Like I said, you can hit the subscribe button, comment down below, like button, all the social medias, Misfit Podcast TV, or Misfit Wrestling, at Misfit Podcast TV on Twitter, the Instagram, like I said, Misfit Wrestling Pod, Facebook, Misfit Wrestling Podcast, youtube.com/at Misfit Wrestling Podcast, and the year-end awards have one-upped with the addition of Shida and Hayter. And again, I stress this very, very carefully. I know I broke my own rule when it comes to that, but if Julia versus Shiri and Utami versus Kairi get like the talk of the town when it becomes two of the best matches of the year, two of some of the best matches of the year, if they somehow outshine Kairi and Mayu and Azumi and what the fuck is it? Starlight Kid. I will put it on there. I will make a case for them to be on there. But as of right now, that's not a plan to add anymore. But that all depends on how good those two matches are. But again, I will see you guys back here for SmackDown. Hopefully. Until then, I've been Matt the Misfit. We're out.